I'm glad to be able to meet everyone in the Singapore group. Since we aren't that many people today, I thought it might be nice to, if anyone is willing to share a little bit what Atlassian products they use, if it's just Jira or Jira and Confluence or other things, and maybe just share if you're on premise, if you're using with your company server or data center version, or if you're on Jira Cloud, just to get kind of an idea of what you're interested in, what you're using every day.
Hi, Laura. My name is Karuna.
Hi.
We normally use, currently we've upgraded to Jira Cloud. We do use Jira and Confluence. So currently I do utilize both of the tools. I'm a Scrum Master.
Okay, great.
Thank you.
Same here for me as well. I am using Jira Confluence, and I also do a lot of things on Jira. Yeah. And
on
we use
cloud
Jira on
or
cloud.
on premise?
Yeah, we
Okay,
are using Jira on cloud.
Hi, Laura. This is Anu. I actually do not use Jira directly. I use other Atlassian product, Trello, for my personal use. For Jira is entirely new for me. But I'm interested to understand Atlassian products because I think they can also be used in your personal management. That's usually my motivation.
Okay. Okay. Well, if if anyone else doesn't feel like sharing, no problem. We can get started. I will share my screen. Oop, I get a little message. I can't share my screen yet. I think that's something. Okay, great. Okay, and just to, if I share like this, let me know if you're seeing the right screen and not with my notes. You're seeing the main presentation.
Yes, we can. Yeah.
Okay, great, perfect. Oops, yeah, there we go. So yeah, I'm Laura Campbell. I'm a marketing project manager at Elements. And if you don't know Elements, we are a gold Atlassian marketplace vendor. And we have 4 Jira apps now, just released our 4th in August, and 1 Confluence app on the Atlassian marketplace. So today I'm going to be showing you how you can automate some processes in Jira with our app, Elements Copy and Sync. And the idea is to give you an overview of what you can do with the app, and hopefully you'll get some ideas to take back to your office. So many of you are probably familiar with a process that looks something like this. A customer or perhaps an employee create a support ticket on Jira Service Management to report a bug with your software or product. The support team analyzes the issue and decides it should be sent to your software team because there is indeed a problem. Because you don't want to have your software developers working in Jira Service Management and using agent licenses, that would get very expensive. The support agent might clone the original issue and then move the clone to the software project. And then the agent would need to keep the customer or the employee up to date on the progress of the clone. So if you only have 2 Jira software projects like this, it's not too hard to know where to move the issue. But if you have lots of projects, or maybe a lot of rules about which team should deal with different kinds of bugs, different kinds of issues, it can be difficult for a support agent to correctly transfer the ticket. And if the support agent knows where to move the cloned issue, that's great. But what if the customer has included some attachments? Maybe there's a bug report or some screen captures, or maybe they add some comments or extra information, or they add some new attachments after you've cloned the ticket. The software team probably needs those details to fix the bug. And when you clone an issue, comments aren't copied. And then, of course, any new attachments that are made to the original issue won't be synchronized to the clone that you make. So that's where Elements Copy and Sync can help. Elements Copy and Sync allows you to automatically copy and sync information between issues, including comments and attachments. It can be used with Jira Work Management, Jira Software, and Jira Service Management, and it's available on Cloud, Server, and Data Center. So today we're going to be looking at just the cloud version, but you can implement the same use case on the server or data center version. The way that you configure the app is a little bit different, but you'll end up with the same end result. So I'm going to show you how Elements Copy and Sync can reduce manual tasks and simplify and sharing information in Jira Cloud when you need to escalate issues from Jira Service Management to Jira Software with synchronization of fields, comments, and attachments. We'll take a quick look into how to configure a copy recipe, as well as show you how you can use workflow transitions to trigger copies automatically. And we'll end with some examples of additional use cases where Elements Copy and Sync could be useful. So let's get started. So here we are on the Jira Service Management customer portal of a business called Tellurian that makes environmental remediation robots or depollution robots. And there's a customer that has a problem with one of their robots. So the customer is creating a basic support request. And now if we switch over to the Jira agent's point of view, we can see the ticket that has just been created. And for the moment, there isn't enough information to make a decision about the problem. So we're going to ask for the diagnostic file from the robot. And great, we can see the customer has added the diagnostic file. So it looks like a bug that the software team will need to fix. So we can increase the priority, add a label, add an app version. And of course, at this point, you could clone and then move the issue, but we're going to use the app Elements Copy and Sync. So we selected that Copy and Sync from the menu. We see there's 4 recipes that are available. We're going to select the first one. And we have just 3 projects that we can choose from. So we're going to choose the project that we need. The issue type is already set. And we can click on Submit. And you'll see here that we have a dynamically generated summary for this issue. And then the rest of the information has already been copied over. And we even have an assignee that has already been set. So we can create that issue. And then if we refresh the page, we can now see that over on this side of the glance view, we have the issues of the child issue, the related issue that has been created. So easy way to keep track of the related issues. So we're going to let the customer know that the issue has been escalated. And if we switch back to the customer view, we can see now down on the right-hand side that the customer now can see the related issue and can be informed of the progress. So now we're going to take a look at things from the software developer's point of view. So we have the issue that's been created, right project, right issue type, but the software developer needs some more information. So they left a comment, and now we're back here on the support portal, and that comment showed up as an internal note. So Sunny, the support agent, is going to ask the customer for that information. And while the agent is at it, Sunny decides, okay, I need to update a little bit the issue. We're going to change something here in the description, make that text bold and red. We're going to change the priority. We're going to add another label. Add that label there and save that. And if we go back now here to the software developer, we can see that the attachment that the customer added has been copied over. Also, this is the same thing in this glance view. And then of course you can see that the text is has changed. Everything has been synchronized over. And when the Ryan changes the status of the issue back on the customer portal, the customer can see that the issue is in progress. So all the changes between the different issues have been synchronized so that everyone, the change could just be made in one place and everyone can be informed of what's going on. So to summarize what we just saw, we were able to automatically clone and move a support ticket to the correct software project with the correct issue type, with everything copied over with an Elements copy and sync recipe. So with Elements copy and sync, you can pre-configure which fields, whether you want comments or attachments, to be copied. And you can also decide if you want any changes or new comments and attachments to be synchronized. So now we can go look at how the Elements copy and sync recipe was configured so that we can get that information from Jira Service Management to Jira Software. So here we are in the Elements copy and sync admin. And just as a side note, you do need to have administrator privileges in order to configure copy and sync. So we're going to look at the recipes, and we can see that there are a couple of recipes that are already configured. And we're going to look at the one that we use, so escalate to iOS software. And the first thing we see is a summary of everything that's configured. So we'll only see this recipe if we're on the Tellurian support desk project, if the issue is in progress. And if you want, you can also add a JQL filter if you want to make it more precise. So the recipe is only available on those issues. And then we can see that we can create it for 3 different projects, the bug type, and we've added a link and blocks. The created issue blocks the source issue. Then underneath we have a summary of the fields, what's going to be copied and what's going to be synchronized. So now we can go to the source tab, and we have the pre-selected project. And then we could have selected some issue types as well. We just left it open that it was available for all issue types. And then there's a configuration tester if you want to test how many issues match the conditions that you have created. So now here on the target tab, we can see that we could have chosen a bunch more projects. You can also choose same as source issue. Same thing for the issue type. We decided to just choose one. We wanted this recipe to only create bugs, but we could have created more, and then the user would have selected the issue type. Underneath, there's some details about the kind of monitoring that you can do. So you can add different kinds of links. You can also add watchers if you want to. And then we activated this option to display the issue created with the recipe on the customer portal. And if we open up the display options, we also activated the option to display the issue for all users, which means that even users who don't have browse permissions are able to see the issue on the customer portal. So now if we go over to the content section, we can take a quick look at the field mapping options. So you can set default options like we did here for the assignee. So click on these 3 dots. You can copy from source or set the static. You can also do some cross mappings. So for example, you could copy the environment or root cause into the description field. And I can show you real quick how to do the dynamic. So you set a dynamic value. You can just start typing here that we want the new summary to say escalated from, I'm going to click on the insert value from source issue, and I can start typing summary. It's an autocomplete, so it helps me find the summary field real quickly and insert that. And just need a space, but that was pretty easy. Really easy to be able to create that dynamic title and insert field values. So then for the synchronization direction, you can choose which way. If you want bidirectional, we just chose source to target. For the comments, again, options on what comments you want to be synchronized. And I chose the comments to be bidirectional for this recipe. That was how we got the software comment synchronized back to the portal. But I did not activate this option to make the comments public. If that is what you want or need, that's also an option. But as you saw, it showed up as yellow, and that was just an internal comment. And then again, for the attachments, you can choose whether you want them synchronized, what direction, and you can also choose to copy subtasks and existing links if there are existing linked issues or web links. So lots of options there to get things set up based on what you need. So now we can look at how you can use an Elements Copy and Sync recipe during a workflow transition to automatically escalate issues between Jira Service Management and Jira software. So here we are again in our support project, and we've decided that this issue is actually related to an incident and we need to escalate it. So we transition the issue. And if we let the customer know, and if we wait a moment, maybe refresh the page. And now we can see that there is a linked issue that has been created, and we can see this over here on the side with the Elements Copy and Sync details. So this is possible because we've added a recipe to a workflow transition. So we can head over to the project settings. And we're going to take a look at the workflows. We're going to edit the workflow. And I find this a little bit easier with the diagram. So we're going to select the transition we want and click on the post functions. And as you can see, there already is a recipe that's been added here. So we'll just add another post function. We're going to select Elements Copy and Sync, add, and then we will be able to select from the available recipes what we want to add to this post function. And then we can add delay if we need that, and then just add that. So a couple things to keep in mind if you use a recipe on a transition. You must configure the recipe with only one project and issue type for the target issue, because you won't see the screen like we saw in the first example where the person could choose the project. So the dynamic project and dynamic issue selection option, the same as source issue, could be a good option here to avoid creating multiple recipes. Because otherwise, if you want to be able to create of course, that would only work if you need the issues created in the same project, but otherwise you'd need to create multiple recipes and then maybe use JQL filters in order to trigger them just for the issues that you want. So we went over quickly the same use case, how to—
One quick question.
Yeah.
So I mean, how about the conditional thing? Like if I put a condition, like if this is a sev2, then only you assign it, means, I mean, very often what we have is that we have got certain SLAs, and if those things are not being addressed within those SLAs, it get escalated. So do you have that option or that condition as well, where how we can means escalate based on the SLAs?
So no, Elements Copy and Sync can be triggered either manually using the menu that we saw, where you select Copy and Sync, and then that opens up the box where you can check, select, make the options on the project, or it can be triggered by a workflow transition, but you can't trigger it based on an SLA or another time-based trigger.
Okay, got it. Yeah.
So yeah, no, but great question. So we went over the same use case. Oh, yeah.
Sorry to interrupt. Actually, I put in the chat a question. I thought just let you know in case.
Okay.
Also talk on that.
I will just get to those questions, I think, at the end, since
Sure.
for me to see the chat, it covers up my presentation.
No worries. No worries. No worries. Yeah. Please continue your flow. I didn't want to break it. Yeah.
No problem. So we did the same use case of just escalating the issue from Jira Service Management to a software project. But of course, there are some other ways that you could use this app. So using Elements Copy and Sync, you could create a change request from a support request. You could create an epic or a story, and then copy over all those details from what the person wanted to see with your app, your software. You can create a problem from an incident issue and then add the right link type that you want between those issues. You can create a related issue, for example, maybe update documentation or for a QA or testing task. You can create multiple issues as a post function if you add multiple recipes as a post function. If I had completed the process that I showed of adding the post function, adding the recipe as a post function, you could add multiple recipes, maybe one to update documentation, one for testing, one for some other task that your team needs to get done. And then when you transition the issue, all those different issues could be created. You can copy issues with insight assets. So if your company is using Jira Service Management for employees to raise requests, they have a problem with either software or hardware, and they select that asset with insight, you can then copy the issue to the right team that's going to solve that problem, and Elements Copy and Sync can copy insight fields. It's also compatible with advanced roadmaps. And so what that means is that you can create an epic from an initiative, and the link between the epic that you create and the initiative will already be set when you create that issue. And just a little hack idea, you can create transitions in Jira that are just loops. So you transition the issue, but it remains in the same status. And if you add an Elements Copy and Sync recipe to that loop transition, you can create issues, but you keep the parent issue in the same status. So this could be useful for maybe epic refining, where you want to be able to create linked stories, but you don't want to move your epic. Or maybe if you have a workflow for your Jira Service Management that's pretty simple. You don't have a lot of different stages, but you want to be able to create linked issues, and you just have it in progress. That could be a solution as well. So to summarize the features that we have seen, you can copy issues with fields, comments, and attachments synchronized so that any changes are made, like a new attachment or updating a field, are automatically propagated to the copy. The linked parent and child issues created with Elements Copy and Sync are visible in the glance view, so it's easy to have an overview of the parent or the child linked issues. You can display the related issues on the customer portal, so customers can be informed of the progress of their issue. And you can set recipes to create and link issues simultaneously as a post function. The copy recipes are available for all users. So I was showing you the recipe that we were configuring. That would then be available for any user as long as the conditions of the recipe match the issue, which means that then your users don't need to individually configure recipes. It will be available for all of your Jira agents, for example. And the recipes are incredibly customizable depending on your needs. So you can let users choose the projects or issue types if they manually select manually trigger the recipe, or you could pre-select everything for them. You can choose how to copy and synchronize comments, whether you want them to be public or just internal. You can display the related issues on the portal or not, or maybe only to users that have the browse project permissions. The choice is really up to you. So in summary, Elements Copy and Sync helps limit repetitive actions, make fewer mistakes if you need to copy issues, and gain time on creating issues and updating those issues. As we saw, just the one change in the issue in the Jira Service Management, those changes were all propagated to the software issue, and then the status update that the software developer made was automatically updated on the service portal, so really saves time. And I think you'll agree that it's pretty easy to set up and easy to use, especially I think when you're configuring it and you want to create, say, a dynamic summary, or you want to do some cross mappings. I think it's a lot easier than setting up the smart values with automation. I don't know if you've tried to do that, but I have a little bit of trouble with when you want to get into some complex things with automation, and I think Elements Copy and Sync makes that part pretty simple. So I hope you have some ideas that you can take back to your colleagues, and I am going to stop sharing so I can see the chat. And yeah, so so I like your question. How the value of the Elements Connect in terms of ROI or other investment metrics for someone who might consider investing in it. So just a quick question. We do have another app that's called Elements Connect. And Alec, was your question about our other app or about Copy and Sync that we were looking at?
I mean, it's in general. You can talk also about copy and sync because you showed benefits around that. So my focus was that to understand how do you, we see the benefits definitely, right, in terms of improving the productivity of the users. But if we have to understand the value in terms of concrete, slightly more, because I'm actually looking from, the reason I'm asking this question is because I come from a background where I try to understand the value of the products that we like technology products, and I'm trying to understand from that lens that if I have to understand the value of the elements of copy and sync and others, I will also check in some other products on the website. How can I do that? Is there any paper or something which I can refer, or maybe you can share as marketing manager? How do you help communicate that when we're talking in terms of ROI? I know it might be slightly off the topic, but this is more relevant for me, so I'm asking this question.
No. It's so we don't have any. I mean, it's a bit hard to say, with this kind of an app that your team will save this amount of money per month or this amount of time. If you are a small team and you don't need to copy issues, or as I showed, keep things synchronized between people who are working on different issues. If that's not a real need, of course, or if maybe it's a real occasional need, spending money on this app maybe is not what you need to do. But if you have a customer portal, you're getting these bugs that are raised, and you need to be able to easily share that information with people working on different projects. And you want to make sure that you don't have to go and worry, oh, a customer updated some information or they have something new. Okay, I got to go and copy that over. The app takes care of all that, and your agents can really focus on what is the next issue request that has been raised. They don't have to go and look at, okay, what's the status of the issue in the software project? Okay, I see that the software developer has advanced on that. Okay, I'm going to let the customer know. The customer can automatically see that on the customer portal. So the app takes care of a lot of different things so that you can then go back and focus on other work. And I know that on community, you'll see a lot of people who are talking about how they can use automation to achieve this use case. And there are certain things, if you want to copy the basic things in an issue and create the issue in a new project, you can achieve that basic idea with automation. But if you want to be able to synchronize field updates, new comments, the new attachments, it starts to get a bit complicated with automation. And you also have to keep in mind that depending on whether you're on Jira Standard or Jira Premium, you do have the limit on the number of executions with automation. And that's something you don't face with Elements Copy and Sync. No matter how many updates or new comments or how many times you need to escalate an issue and copy, you won't be using your quota of executions for automation. So yeah, something to keep in mind. Yeah, I don't. Does that land for you? I don't know. Do you have any follow-up questions about that?
Actually, I'm just thinking. Actually, your answer basically, I was just thinking it's kind of a use case, right? And I was just thinking in my mind that how you, when you're talking to your customers who are interested in buying this, what kind of matrices that that they're interested in improving when they're looking at these benefits.
Yeah.
This was something I was very curious to understand, and if you have that comes top of your mind, I see the benefits that are coming. It's something around productivity and but still it is also interesting for me to understand. Yes, we all want things to become easier, but are we really measuring it in some way? Because if you're not measuring it, then how is how I mean how people are understanding the value of the product basically.
So Alok, can I add something here? So because this
Yeah.
is the basic funda of automation, the more we run, the more ROI we get. So
Yes.
as if like the more number of user base that we have, we get more ROI. The more number of escalations are happening, the more number of ROI we get. So it depends upon the team and the number of transactions that are happening that would lead to create a better ROI. So at this point of time, what I feel, I mean, this is my personal opinion. So at this point of time, what I feel is that ROI depends upon the particular use case. Say I have got a customer base of say 100 people. So 100 agents are escalating. So I'll calculate my ROI in that way. If my team comprises of 10 people, 10 agents are escalating, 10 transactions are happening. So my ROI would be different. So getting a number or getting means a value or a dollar value at this point of time would be difficult. But again, that depends on which team you want to implement the app on.
Exactly, I totally echo with you. Actually, my intent was not to get a number. My intent was to understand these levers that you're talking about, like the number of, because for every company, big and small, the number can change. The idea was that, like, what are the levers that are driving the value? And I think one of them is definitely number of escalations, number of transactions, and number of users. All these are there, but I was just trying to understand it from, is there any structured documentation that I can read to understand how we do that? It's not the numbers, the levers, basically the value levers, let's call it. But I get your point. I'll dig a little bit more on the Elements website, and hopefully I find something there, or maybe in future when we connect again we can discuss.
I'm just thinking one of the things that I think some companies end up upgrading to Jira Premium in order to have more executions with automation. But that can end up being rather expensive. And so one thing to look at with your team is, if you don't have that many users, but you do need to regularly copy issues, you want to clone and move, and you want it to be automated, and you want the fields to be synchronized, you can have a better ROI by getting an app like Elements Copy and Sync instead of upgrading to Jira Premium. That can be something to look into as well. If you don't want the rest of the features that are offered with, if you don't need those, with Jira Premium.
Yeah, thanks, Lara. I don't know if these questions are off the topic, but definitely was interesting to me.
So any other questions like Kamlesh, then Aryan and Karuna? I think silence means no questions. So before we end the session, I would like to pay my sincere thanks to Laura for giving us time for us, for our community, and it's, I really appreciate that. And also, I would like to take a photograph, if you please, on the cameras. That would be good if you're okay. Alok, Karuna.
Can you give me a minute? Let me put on my t-shirt, a better looking one. Okay, just a second.
I have my Elements t-shirt there.
So I'll take a quick snapshot. Yeah, it's done. Thank you.